Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news as Ruben Amorim looks at a potential dream swap deal that would remove Rashford and bring a midfielder into United. Talking of Rashford, Borussia Dortmund are out of the race. There was mention of Spurs earlier. There was mention of a Mendes for Garnacho swap earlier as well. But we're now hearing that Manchester United will not sign a left-back in January. How do INEOS steer from one absolute prat job to another? Absolutely incredible. We'll be talking about that as well. And Cristiano Ronaldo is not coming back again. He wants a Man United player there in the next couple of weeks. And I tell you what, we'll gift wrap him for Ronaldo. If he wants him, he can take him. Lots to get into on the show tonight. Updates are coming in thick and fast. A big shout out to Beth earlier reacting to the Ahmad story. That's going to be this week. Like a new signing. What did I tell you? They could have announced this 2 weeks ago. Good old Glazers, fronted by INEOS, announcing a new contract in a transfer window because it mugs you all off because it's like a new signing. We literally did this 4 years ago with Anthony Martial, and they'll never stop because they think you are absolute idiots. And that's why they keep doing it. Lots to get involved in. I don't think you're idiots. I think you're fantastic, and that's why I'm going to admit I am 10 minutes late tonight because it's bloody freezing in England, and I ran a bath and then I was doing something and I thought, you know what, I'll have a 5-minute bath and I'll be live for 7. And you know when it's cold and you're getting a nice hot bath and you're like, I don't care. I'm sitting in this bath for 10 minutes. And I was going to live stream from the bath, but one slip and it's going to ruin all your lives forever. You know, you're going to go, I didn't know they were that big. That'll be the end of that. And I'm only talking about my feet. Anyway, let's get on with it. We are flying in. Enjoy your baths tonight. I'm doing Liverpool Spurs tonight as well. That's why I'm a little bit early. Where do we start? I'm actually going to be selfish and pull rank here. I'm going to start off by talking about... actually I won't. I won't be selfish. I want to talk about the left-back situation because I think it's a bloody disgrace. I will talk about the left-back situation. I will throw this out for you intelligent people to think about, and we'll come back to a little bit later in the show. Tell me a football club in world football, let alone the Premier League, that hasn't owned a starting left-back for 2 years. Fit. Manchester United. Manchester United. Incredible. Absolutely incredible that yet another transfer window is going to go by without Man United doing anything with a left back. It is absolutely stunning. Stunning stuff to me, and not in a good way. We will be talking about that. Let's talk first of all about this Douglas Luiz. Now, Fabrizio Romano, in the last few minutes, has just tweeted that Nottingham Forest are one of the teams looking at Douglas Luiz. Now, I'm going to say straight away, I said this on That's Football. If you're Forest or Fulham or Bournemouth, you're having an amazing season. If you can do a deal or two in January, that amazing season might just last to the final whistle, the finishing line. I mean, can you imagine if Forest add Douglas Luiz to that team? They'll definitely get Champions League football. But Manchester United have always also been linked to him. Now, I don't know. I don't know. We have been linked. He's obviously a player that's not starting for Juventus. He's 10 times the player Casemiro is. Absolutely 10 times. Man United need another midfielder. Surely something could be done with Juventus. Juventus want Xerxes. They want Moani. And they've been linked to Rashford. You've got 3 things massively linked to us there, and they've got a midfielder that they're going to let go. I mean, somebody says Douglas Luiz or Edison. DL says Douglas Luiz or Edison. We can't get Edison. We haven't got £60 million and they don't want to sell him. They're in a title race. But we can get Douglas Luiz, and he's Premier League proven. And we know that Juventus want Xerxes. We know that they're linked to Rashford. Like, you've got 2 opportunities there to say, hey, Juventus, remember us? You know, we've always had a great relationship. The old lady and Man United. Sounds a bit odd, that. But we've always had a great relationship. They want Xerxes, and they're linked to Rashford. They also want Moani as well. You know, maybe we back off Moani and we take Luis. I don't know. But there is a deal that could be done there. And I think it could be a deal where it's a loan to buy. And what I do know is, because I live not too far away from Aston Villa now, and I know a lot of Aston Villa fans, and they were absolutely gutted to lose Douglas Luiz. And basically, they lost him because of FFP. They had to sell him. They didn't want to sell him. They had to sell him. He's 26. He's Premier League proven. This is exactly the sort of play. If we had Douglas Luiz, Agate, and Mainu, we're sorted for the next 2 years. You've got 3 really good players for the double pivot and Collier. We'd be absolutely sorted. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit too obvious, but I think that this would be a dream deal for United. And I don't care whether it's we take Douglas Luiz on loan and Juventus get Rashford on loan, or we take Douglas Luiz and they get Xerxes. But there's something that can be done there. We need a midfielder. And, you know, dream case scenario, Moani comes in on loan, Douglas Luiz comes in, and Rashford or Xerxes go to Juventus. I don't see the problem with that. I really don't. Especially when Juventus are looking to move him on. We desperately need another midfielder. I'm telling you now, if we don't get a midfielder in January, we can't be crying in February and March when our season falls apart because Agate is out for 2 months or Mainu's out for 2 months. Our season will fall apart if we lose one of those two. So why would you not look to do something like that that's staring you in the face? Josh Sheena says, United should get Robinson, INEOS or Muggs. Do you have faith in Garnacho to improve, says John? I do, actually. I do. I want him to improve. It's interesting. I mean, I'm not going to spend any time on this really other than to give you my thoughts. I was watching the video that Beth did at 2 o'clock about this story where PSG might be open to swapping Garnacho for Mendes. And my feeling is that PSG get a better deal. Garnacho in that league would do amazing. And he is a player that's got brand appeal. In 5 years' time, I think they would be in a better position than us. I'm not comfortable with the swap deal for Mendes and Garnacho. If we're going to sell him, we need to bring the money in. And we need to make sure that there's a big percentage coming back our way. Because one positive I would say, and there's not many positives with Man United, Andreas Pereira is being linked with a move from Fulham to Brazil. We've got a 25% sell-on clause. So if he goes for 20 million, we get 4 million. So that's the sort of thing. Hi, Mark. I love your work. Do you think we can sell Eriksen this transfer window, says Mads? No, I think he'll just go on a free. Mazraoui wants to see how big yours is. Is the bath sponsored by Manscaped, says Lee? No. Everyone dressed as Saudi sheikhs at this year's reinstated Christmas party, says Sean M. Thank you very much for that. Just very quickly on the midfield as well. We've had this from a very good source that the Saudi League are really ramping up the move for Casemiro. So much so that there is more rumours coming out this evening that Cristiano Ronaldo wants him at Al Nassr with him. Obviously, they played together at Real Madrid, and he wants Casemiro there with him. The money is not a problem because the money is bigger than what we pay him, and we pay him big. And Casemiro is apparently open to it. So it's looking good. It's looking good with Casemiro, and I will celebrate that deal massively because the fall off of one of the greatest midfielders I've ever seen has been incredible, and what we pay for it, we'd be, what we could do with that 350k is massive. And people talk about, well, we won't get any money. 350k a week, and he's got 18 months left on his contract. The second he goes, you're saving 1.4 million a month, and there's 18 months left. So that's 30 million pounds. And people say reducing wages doesn't make an impact on the transfer budget. Of course it does. Absolute massive amount of money. So yeah, hopefully that one will get done very, very quickly. Glenn C says it's very likely Agate will be serving a 2-match ban for 10 yellows as he can't see him not getting another 5 yellows before the cut-off, says Glenn C. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. I think like Casemiro, Agate does get targeted a little bit, but it's a very good point that, when and if Agate or Mainu miss games, who are we going to play in the midfield? And as much as I don't rate Casemiro anymore, if Agate wasn't fit, I'd play Casemiro over Eriksen. So we do need a replacement to come in. And look, I nearly said something stupid. I'm confident if Casemiro goes, we'll bring another midfielder in because we're really short anyway, and we'll be even shorter without Casemiro. But that leads me on to the next topic. It's been reported today by a couple of sources, one of which is the Manchester Evening News, that Manchester United, whilst they're interested in Mendes, this would be a deal for the summer. So they're not looking to bring a left back in January. And you know, when I saw that, it was all I could do not to, you know, stop the car I was driving at the time. I didn't see it. I heard it on the radio. Obviously, I'm not looking at my phone when I'm driving, and nobody should be doing that. It was all I could do not to stop the car and just run around a field chasing sheep angrily, and that's not fair on sheep. And they, you know, it's just not. So I was absolutely fuming. And the only reason I was going to chase sheep is because there was a field full of sheep when I heard that news. I wouldn't have done anything if I'd have caught them. I'd have just gone, "You bloody idiots!" And they'd have just bared back at me. Bah. Why aren't we getting a left back? Bah. I've never heard of him. But no, I think I despair. I don't really know what to say, because I absolutely despair at the ineptitude of a football club that has now gone. If you go, what season are we in? 24-25. You go back to the start of the 23-24 season. Malacia had already done his knee. Malacia did his knee in the summer. So at the start of the 23-24 season, Malacia had done his knee. Luke Shaw has basically been injured for the last 2 seasons, and we had Reguilon on loan. Reguilon went in January. We didn't replace him. In the summer, we didn't buy a left back, and now again, we're not buying a left back. So by the time we bring a left back in, if we bring a left back in the summer, that's 2 years of not owning a starting left back. And for 18 months of it, we haven't had a left back because Reguilon went after 6 months and he was on loan. I just can't think. And there's no. Let me just make this very, very clear. There's no niche little cleverness about this. We're not being hipster or unorthodox by not having a left back. Every club needs 2 because they play on the left side of the pitch and they have a left foot, most of them. And for 2 years, Man United have decided we don't need one. I mean, I can't put it any clearer than that. Man United are so fucking good, we don't think we need a left back. And maybe, just maybe, when you look at the league table and you see where we are, this might be one of the reasons we are there. Because we're going into every game with a huge weakness that everybody looks at and goes, that's a weakness. So, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. And there's a few people saying, what about Luke Shaw? Listen to what I said. Man United, knowingly, for the last 2 years, have been playing games without a starting left back that they own. Luke Shaw is not a starting left back. Luke Shaw is an NHS patient lying on a treatment table. That's what Luke Shaw is. On Luke Shaw, by the way, United Menace, good source, has said that Luke Shaw's hoping to be back at the end of the month. Yeah, I'm sure he probably will be back on February the 1st, and he'll probably be out on February the 2nd. But regardless of Luke Shaw, he's unreliable. He's about as useless as a chocolate fire guard. He's a waste of time. And I think that forgetting Luke Shaw, forgetting Malacia, I just cannot believe that Man United are sat there in the boardroom going, let's put it off till the summer. I would be in there on January the 1st, if that's when the meeting is, and I would be saying, we haven't had a left back for 18 months. And we've been shit. Now, there are other reasons for that. The Glazers owners, we've bought badly. Certain big earning players haven't performed well. But I would put my hand up and say, there is a percentage of this that is down to the fact that we don't have any balance on the left-hand side. We don't have a left footer. We don't have somebody who's able to overlap and whip a natural cross in. We don't naturally defend the left-hand side well because we haven't got a left back. How many goals has this cost us at both ends by not just having a left back? And this has been going on for 18 months. And you're telling me in January, when we've got an opportunity to correct this problem for the last few months of the season and bed somebody in for next season, we're actually just going to carry on? Yeah. Fucking hell. No wonder you failed at Nice. Absolute prats. You haven't got a fucking clue about football, have you? You haven't got a clue about football. You're out getting strikers on loan. What's that striker going to do when he's getting no service from the left side like nobody else ever does? Oh, you want a midfielder ahead of a left back? Or what's that midfielder going to do when he's overworked, tracking over to the left-hand side? How's about... It's like a seesaw. It's like Man United are a seesaw, right? The left-back side, there's nothing there. And everything's on the other side. And they're wondering why the seesaw won't work and it's just up in the air. Because there's no bloody balance in the team. You can put as much as you like on the right-hand side, but if you haven't got a left-back, that seesaw's not going to balance. Those scales are not going to balance. We've got no balance in our team because we don't have a bloody left-back, and we're sat here in a January transfer window being told we're not going to get a left-back. And Deleu's not good enough at left-back. He's had one good game in 2 months. And that's because Trent's shit defensively. Like, I despair as a fan being able to see United's glaring problems in 4K, and I despair that the people running the club can't see them and consistently refuse. And the only reason this will be happening, by the way, is money. This will be down to money. Man United will be going, we think we can get Mendes in the summer, so why get someone now? So let's not get anyone. Because they'll be thinking we can get Mendes in the summer. That's what they'll be thinking. But tomorrow never comes. Today. Just get a left back in on loan then. Do something between now and the summer because we don't have a left back. Look, as I say, it might just be me that gets irritated by these things, but I just cannot believe that we're ignoring something that's so important. To put it as an analogy, this would be like being on a family trip and you've got to drive from Manchester to London. And before you set off, somebody says, right, we've got enough petrol. The engine's running fine. I've put some oil in. We've got plenty of window washer. Everything's perfect, but the left tyre looks a bit dodgy. In fact, not the left front one, the left back tyre looks a bit dodgy. Looks like it's got a nail in it. It's got a slow puncture. I don't think we're going to make it to London. Don't worry. I've phoned ahead. I've spoken to Quick Fit in London, and they're going to give us a new tyre when we get to London. And then someone puts their hand up and goes, are you stupid? That has got a slow puncture, and you want us to drive to London on it. Why don't you just get it fixed now? Because we're doing it when we get to London. Great. And then when we break down at Stoke, whose fault is it? And that's how I look at it. If you want a clear and concise analogy, that's how I look at it. It's absolutely thick. It's so thick to go through the rest of this season with a slow puncher at left back when you could just replace it. But instead of that, we've got a slow puncher on the left back wheel. But you know what? You know what we're going to do? We're going to put the car through a car wash before we go because it wasn't clean enough. You know, we're going to do something that we actually don't need as urgently as fixing the thing that's going to help us get where we need to go. Soham says, off topic, but some major United content creators literally abused fans who were furious at the Mainu sale news, starting to think if they're being paid by the INEOS PR. Soham says, major United content creators literally abused fans who were furious at the Mainu sale news. Tell me who they are, and I'll fight your cause. They shouldn't be having a go at United fans. Shouldn't be abusing United fans for it. Abuse me. Have a go at me. Let's see. Give me the names. Give me names. Because I tell you what, they're morons. They haven't got a fucking clue what they're on about. Absolutely no idea. If you're defending INEOS for putting Kobe Mainu up for sale, then you're a bloody mercenary and you're on the payroll. You haven't got a bloody clue. Because none of these people know what INEOS are doing. They just kiss their arse. It's the same people who told us that INEOS were going to buy the club and by 2026 they'd get rid of the Glazers. 2026 is in 11 months. And Sir Jim Radcliffe said last month he's got no intention. So all these people who, you know, glorify the INEOS movement, they've got no idea what INEOS are going to do, but they pretend they do. They pretend they've got sources. And look, I'm hoping INEOS will be successful, but I ain't listening to United fans telling us what INEOS's plan is because they haven't got a bloody clue. They start telling us who we're going to sign, and then 6 months later, we look at who they said we're going to sign, and then we don't sign them. Or they tell us they're trying to get the Glazers out and then they're not. Or they tell us they'll have a new stadium being worked on by the summer of 2025 and we won't. So I don't mind people being happy that Mainoo's up for sale. Everybody's got to have an opinion, but don't try and, you know, shout people down with you know what INEOS's plan is, because you haven't got a bloody clue. You're not being called into the bloody boardroom, are you? Ah, yeah. It's weak by INEOS, but could it be that they are looking to sell Shaw or Malacia first? We already have a bloated squad and would not be able to sign one without first reducing the squad size. Well, that's just stupidity for Immortal, isn't it? Because neither of those two players are either good enough or fit. If Sir Jim loved the club like he acts he does, he would put his net worth into buying anyone, says Jack. How on earth did we end up in this situation? From one penny pincher to another, INEOS should be called Glazios. No, there's a better name than that. Glazios. Was that what we called them? I thought there was another one. No, I think it was that one. The cost of a left-back will be less than the lost revenue as we sink down, says Emily Derry. Do you know what happened with the Paraguayan Leon deal? He's flying in for his medical, Joseph, but he won't be here till the summer, and he's a young lad anyway. Wasn't there a story about Amorim's first game in charge about him wanting a left-back straight away? They're ignoring the manager again. Glazer-esque, says Jake. And off-topic, but I've done that one from Soherm. Autios, says Dave. No left-back is worrying, says Double D. Surely Amorim knows we need one. So is this the first sign of the manager not being backed by INEOS? It's not a good sign, says Double D. And the worst thing is, Ten Hag needed a left-back. But in a Amorim system, a left-footed, left-sided player is even more important because effectively he's playing a back five or a 3-4-3. So a left-footer on that left-hand side is absolutely essential, and he hasn't got one. He simply hasn't got one. Would you bring in any of the young lads like Kone or Obi Martin, says Seb? I think it's a difficult scenario to throw them into because we're not in a good situation. And I'm a firm believer that when you're promoting young talent, they need to be nurtured and protected. And I think throwing them into difficult situations is not necessarily a good idea. Would INEOS have bought Mazraoui level fullback if we already had a left back? Their stupid plan was to use Delo at left back for the full season. They're idiots, says Sid T. Who is Luke Shaw, says John. And Patrick Lynch says, what do you make of Swedish Rumble's take that we don't get as much profit from a Rashford sale as a large chunk will go towards paying off his remaining contract, much like with the McTominay sale, says Patrick Lynch. Look, I don't think... Look, I would trust him. We're not selling Marcus Rashford to get huge profit. We're moving him on because the story is messed up. It just doesn't work anymore. And fair play for Manchester United and Rashford for actually facing up to what some people have been saying for 2 years. This just doesn't work anymore. So you've got to part ways. I don't think we're parting ways to make big profit. We won't lose money on it, but I think this is about parting the ways. It's not about making profit. And anybody who thinks that moving Rashford on is about making profit, it's not. If we make some money, we make some money, but that's not what it's all about. It's about solving an issue that just won't solve itself. INEOS and Glazers out, Musk and Jazim in, says Paul Woolley. And who the hell is telling Rashford Milan is a good idea for him? He'll never get in the squad. He doesn't start on the left on Leao, and he doesn't start on the left over Pulisic, who has been Milan's best player for 2 seasons, says Cheeky. Maybe he'll be happy to play on the right at Milan. Cheeky. I don't know. Glenn C, we've read. Mott, thank you very much for your super chat as well. Done that one as well. Thank you very much for that. Lots of people commenting about the left back situation. Yeah, it's bloody ridiculous. INEOS just realised the load of rubbish the Glazers sold them in United, thus they're hell-bent on cutting costs in any way, says Stowe. And remember when The Guardian reported that the Glazers rejected the Qatar bid because Sheikh Jazim couldn't prove he had sufficient funds? Now we're risking non-compliance with FFP under INEOS, as Alex said. And hi, Mark, can you call my friend Ebenezer a prat? He sucks under pressure, says Dylan. There we go. Casemiro news, Mark, on MUFC PB. Let me have a quick look. This is coming in from UOL, which has got 2.8 million followers. Casemiro very close to moving to Saudi. The Saudi sovereign funds have practically closed the transfer. The contract with Casemiro is agreed. The club he will join will be defined later, says Bruno Andrada. Look, you know, I'm glad that that's come out, because I want to give a shout out to Sam, who works with us on the United Stands, and I'll read out what he said before that, and that was a couple of hours ago. This is what he had to say. Let me read it for you, because, you know, it sounds like it's starting to filter through. Let me just get it. Where was it? Here we go. Understand Al Nazira back in... sorry, that's not it at all. Where? Sam, I thought you tweeted it this afternoon. Where are you? I'm going off a WhatsApp here. Al Nazir, this was 2 hours ago. Al Nazir continuing to push for the signing of Casemiro. Sources in Saudi Arabia confirm that Ronaldo is pushing the CEO to sign Casemiro and believes he'll be a fantastic fit for the Saudi side. All parties involved in this deal hoping it will move quickly. So, yes, it feels like in the last few hours that there is a real push. And you know what? I don't understand the left-back situation. I don't understand that Mainu story last night. I don't understand why you're cutting money to charities, but not everything is bad. It's not green and red, like there is in between. And I do not think that we should underestimate the enormity of moving Rashford and Casemiro on in January. If you said that to me in October, I'd have said, how? How are you going to do that? So if they get rid of Rashford and Casemiro in January, I think that's fantastic business. I really, really do. And that doesn't mean that sacking people and increasing ticket prices is good. It's not. But this is how you... this is how I think it should. I just think in life you should realise that not everything is bad and not everything is good and nothing is perfect, and there are good and bad bits. And I think INEOS have done a lot of bad things in the first 12 months, but I also think I'm very happy with Agate. I'm very happy with Mazraoui and De Ligt. I'm very happy with Yoro. I thought the McTominay-Wan-Bissaka deals were good. Getting rid of Donny van de Beek was good. And if we can move Casemiro and Rashford out in this January transfer window, I genuinely think that's good. I think it's good business. And I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, wow, we're not getting a left-back, because I am going to say that. I think it's incredibly thick. I think it's incredibly stupid. But that doesn't mean I'm going to be a petulant little child and go, oh, they didn't get me a left-back, they're idiots. Oh, I don't care about the Casemiro deal. I still think moving Casemiro out is really good. Now, they wanted to do it in the summer, and they failed, but they've done it in January. So, look, we've got to cross the T's and dot the I's on the deal, but it's looking very, very good on that one. And it's also looking good in relation to Rashford as well. I just think, and it might just be a theory, that 2 + 2, as Ricky would say, could equal not Matic, but Douglas Luiz. Juventus clearly want to do some business with United, whether it be Rashford or Xerxes, and I'd like to do some business with Douglas Luiz. So I think that, I mean, can you imagine a scenario where Rashford, Casemiro, and maybe Xerxes go, Mawani and Douglas Luiz come in, and you maybe do get a left back? I mean, that would be flawless for me. A left back, Douglas Luiz and Mawani in, and then Rashford, Casemiro, and maybe Anthony out. That would be brilliant. That would be brilliant. And it's not that unachievable, is it? And I don't mind if we want to go for Mendes in the summer, but get a left back in now, get him on loan. Yeah, but we'll have to wait and see. You should bring in Lee from PSG, says Ji Sung Park. Any news on incoming transfers? Love the content, says Ethan. Apart from Mawani, nothing at the moment. Yeah, it all seems to be about outgoings at the moment. But look, that's only the same as the last month of the transfer window in the summer, where we knew we had to sell to buy, and I think that's exactly where we are again. So, yeah. Why isn't Amas getting a chance with no left-backs, as Suraj? I think it's the same as Obi Martin. I mean, you can't knock a manager that doesn't want to chuck a kid in because he's worried about burning them out. You know how this fan base works. Play this player, then you play this player, oh, he's shit. And I think you've got to be very careful about that, certainly. Can you call my friend Tony a prat? He's the biggest United hater out there, and he deserves it, says Gregory. Loner left back until the summer and then go for Tavares, says 17 De Gea. And do you think if Zuckerberg announces that he's getting rid of factual social media in UK, that media in football will be destroyed? I don't know what that means, Josie Joe. Abdullah, welcome to Members Club. Profit point was more for FFP, PSR purposes, says Patrick Lynch. Surely we need to start Amas more, says Avanash. He can't do worse than Delo, and he's put a shift in. And I don't know Mark Howe, but I counted how many videos Sky has made on United since Amorim. It's safe to say they are the divided stand, says Yechi. Thank you very much for that. I was over at Solihull Moors today because we were dismantling our podcast set because we're moving out. And while we were doing that, I went to get a coffee in the social room, and they had Sky Sports on, and I thought I was watching some sort of university podcast. It was about midday, and it was some transfer chat on Sky Sports News where it was 3 content creators and a presenter talking about transfers, and I listened and I was like, this is shit. They not the people doing it. They should just be doing that on their own YouTube channel. There was no specialism there. There was no inside track on what was actually going on. It was just 4 people having a chat about transfers. And I was like, fucking hell, they've really fell off. What happened to James Cooper outside Carrington actually talking about, things that are going on at Manchester United? It's just become I don't know. Thank you very much for that. Apparently some Rashford news coming in. I will have a look. I haven't seen anything or had any notifications coming through. Hopefully it will move quite quickly. Dortmund don't want Sancho, don't want Rashford, by the way. They're out of the race. Pletigol reported that earlier. I knew there was something. You know what? Like, it was meant to be Milan, Juventus, and Dortmund. Dortmund are out of the race now. Apparently, their manager isn't too sure on Rashford and is happier with what they've got. So they're not, and they can't afford it. So, I mean, that's probably the real reason. But remember, Juventus are in the race, and Rashford's people are in Italy. Turin, Milan, not that far apart. Go and have a chat, and we'll have a chat with them about Douglas Luiz, and I'll be very happy for that. This is coming in from Times Sport. Milan are expected to tell Man United they will only pay half of Marcus Rashford's wages during any potential loan spell. That's fine. This, you know what? I love the reporting on this. Milan are expected to tell Man United that they will only pay half of Manchester United's Marcus Rashford wages. I love the negativity in that. They will only pay half of his wages. What? 150 grand a week? It's a lot of money for AC Milan. How is about you could word it this way? AC Milan have told Manchester United they're willing to pay half of his wages while he's on loan. But they've written it, AC Milan have told Man United they'll only pay half. I'm more than happy for them to pay half. I think that sounds great to me. Look, we're in a desperate situation with Rashford, and he's in a desperate situation where he needs to play football. We get to half his wage while he goes and plays in a league where he can't harm us, where he can put himself in the shop window, and his value goes up. He's got nobody will buy him at the moment because they don't know whether he's worth buying. It's like renting your flat out. You know, it's great. This is great. Half is absolutely fine. I think that is absolutely fine. So I don't think that's a negative. I think that's a positive. Kokonki needs more game time, says Daniel. Look, let me just have a look at this. Because sometimes, again, it's easy journalism that they don't bother doing. So, AC Milan will only pay half of Marcus Rashford's salary, right? Their top earner isn't even on 150 grand a week. So AC Milan will only pay half of Rashford's 300 grand a week, yeah? Alvaro Morata is on 160 150,000 euros a year. Benfica is on 135,000 euros a year. Leao is on 130,000 euros a year. Tammy Abraham is on 110,000 euros a year. This is according to an AC Milan site, right? So they are giving us a week, sorry, not a year. They're bloody hell. So yeah, if they're going to give Rashford 150 grand a year, a week, they're basically making him their biggest earner. But you get a report saying they're only willing to pay half his wages. Half his wages are 150 grand a week, and that would make him a top earner at AC Milan. You know what I'm saying? Apparently there's a bit of Garnacho news coming in. It's all kicking off here. I've got to go and watch the Liverpool match. PSG, it's from the Times. The Times have done a drop, haven't they? PSG are keeping tabs on Garnacho. No offer from them yet. Yeah, but we sort of know that anyway. I will say this to you, right? We've got to be very careful that we don't become PSG's bitch. Qatar owned PSG, and Qatar could have owned Man United. Ever since INEOS have got Man United and we've worked with PSG, they seem to get the better deal. I like Ugarte, but what was that Benfica lad we wanted? And they got him, and we got Ugarte. We sort of helped Benfica. We helped PSG get a player we were looking at, and we took the player they needed to get rid of so they could get him. If Garnacho goes to PSG, I think we've got to be very, very careful, because I can see Garnacho doing real... I still think he's got massive potential, and I don't like player leaving Man United, I've got a point to prove at 20. That worries me a lot. It was João Neves, yeah. So we've got to be very careful if we let Garnacho go to PSG. Very, very careful, because I think that could kick us in the arse, really. We got a great deal with Ugarte, Darren. I like Ugarte, you know I do. But what I'm saying is we helped PSG get a player they wanted and we wanted by taking Ugarte off their hands. And I like Ugarte, but we gave him a bloody good price for him, considering they wanted to get rid of him. And I don't want Man United to become PSG's bitch, basically. Yeah. But, you know, I love Ugarte. I think he's going to be worth every penny. But we did pay a lot of money for him, considering they wanted to get rid of him and only had him for a year. And they held us to ransom, I think. I think he's going to be worth it, but I don't want to be PSG's bitch, basically. Could really use a good result on Sunday. I've just learned that my mum's got cancer. I think I'll donate the bet I joined you with about Luke Shaw, says Cyber Spider. Well, look, I'm sure you're going to get all the love and all the support from the chat. You're certainly going to get it from me, mate. Regular contributor to the channel, and yeah, thoughts with you and your mum and your family, mate. And I actually, you know, for what it's worth, I actually do think we'll get a result on Sunday. I really do. I think we'll kick on from Liverpool, and I think they look a bit vulnerable. I would be lying if I said I don't like INEOS. They had their good and bad moments, but overall they have not been that bad, according to me. What I think they lack is acknowledging they've made mistakes, says Yechi. What I think they lack is football knowledge. I think they're business people, and I don't think they have any communication or understanding of this football club at the moment, and that needs to change. Thanks everyone for watching. I'd better get up. I love you from Malaysia, says Abdullah. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to get over to That's Football. We can continue the conversation there. Got some good conversations there. Have you seen the CPS, Crown Prosecution Service, are looking at a case to charge a current Premier League footballer in relation to sexual offences. It's not a Man United player. We'll be talking about that. City about to spend a lot of money. Does that mean they're about to get off? Have the Premier League messed it up? And yeah, a few other bits as well. Matt Letizia slagging off Carragher. We'll talk all about that as well, whilst watching Spurs Liverpool. I'll see you over there in a couple of minutes. Thanks for watching tonight. Smash the like and subscribe. I'll speak to you in a bit.